Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Content Corner Laboratory. This is Herbert.
Hi, everybody. This is Lens. I don't have a creepy Halloween voice.
I try so hard to provide for this network.
I know you
And
do,
then,
but Halloween is my least favorite holiday.
I mean, I feel you on that. I do. But it's it's for the band, all right? It's for the band.
Band?
Now, for the band? So, this week, in honor of Halloween and spooky month, well, I should say this past week, I forced Lens, and by say forced Lens, I asked Lens if he wanted to do this because he's a grown man and makes his own decisions.
Yeah, that was a force. I was willing.
If because Lens had never seen the Alien series, the awkwardly titled and numbered Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, which is drawn as Alien Cubed, which is weird, and Alien Resurrection. So,
The power of three.
I mean, it was the third movie, so I guess it was the power of three.
The problem is there's only one alien.
Yeah. But it was 3 times as powerful as the other ones. Not really. I'm just
I
making
don't
that
know.
bullshit up.
Yeah, I don't think it works like
I'm making that bullshit up. I almost want to say it was fast. No, it wasn't faster. No, it wasn't anything. It was just different.
Just another
Anyway,
one.
just another one. It was just different. It literally was just different. So, yeah, so we sat down, we watched it. I watched it. So basically, we got 2 sets of eyes watching this. We got someone who's watching it for the first time, experiencing its entire series for the first time, and then you got me, a veteran to the series, and rewatching it now that he's an older, wiser, more bald person. So,
Like your lack of hair will change your opinion.
you know what? It might, and you don't know that.
Oh yeah, did since you don't have hair anymore, did you like the third movie more because like I know nobody had hair?
I vibed with the cast, man.
All of a sudden you're like, you know what? I know people hated this movie, but I get it. I get it now.
So, like, people have to shave their head. That's like, whatever. You know what? That's a bald person problem. It's not your problem.
It's not my
So,
problem.
um, so before we go into too much details of our opinions on this, I feel like we'll share opinions on each movie individually, but I want to say major spoilers if you haven't seen these movies, but going forward, but I want to say overall, if you're a fan of uh, horror slash action, because they kind of split up, like half of them are horror, half of them are action, kind of.
I
Uh,
feel like only the first one was horror.
I would say the first one is definitely horror, 100%, hands down.
Yeah.
The second one is definitely more action. The third, I feel teeters wanting to be more horror, but the effects aren't as good, so it ends up being just more actiony. Because like they wanted to,
Action slash suspense.
yeah, I definitely feel like they were trying to get horror on the third one again, and it just didn't work out. And the fourth one is definitely 100% action. Um, that being said, if you're a fan of either of those, I highly recommend the first 2, and then you stop there. Just the first 2. Just Alien and Aliens. That's it. Done. You've watched the series.
That's true. I would have been okay if we didn't watch 3 and 4. Although I didn't mind 4.
I've said it before. 3 is by far the weakest out of all of them. 4 is still weak, and it's in third place. And there's a decent gap between last place and third place in this point, but there's also a very large gap between third and second. So,
Very true. All right, so let's like run through them, like our opinions of them, real quick.
All right, so number one, Alien, the original, the progenitor. I love this movie.
I could definitely see why it's a like classic. Like I watched it for the first time and I was like, you know what, this was good. This is old. These effects are old. Um, it feels super dated because this was like what, the 70s.
70s, yep. 79, if I remember correctly, was the first movie, which is
Somewhere around
crazy.
there. But hey, like I'm not mad at it. I enjoyed it actually.
Like, you can see how it was, why it got so big at the in when the first one released, because those effects for back then were solid.
I was impressed.
Like, you could see money on the screen.
I was so impressed. I was like, damn, these guys like really fucking like they went at it. It was good.
And then the overall story, there's enough mystery in there to keep you there, as well as the lingering threat of what the fuck is this thing? How are they gonna survive? Because it's the crew. They're not like warriors. They're literally just resource pilots, like
Bro, they're
resource
just like
shippers.
we're just here to like take this thing and then bring it over here and like that's it. And you just see like a normal group of people go through some wild shit. And like I just liked just the characters' interactions. I enjoy. It's just a lot to like. They're like, oh, we have to follow a signal. And people are like, man, I don't want to follow a goddamn signal. I just want to go home. And they're like, well, if we don't, like, we won't get paid. I'm like, fuck. So they land. I'm like, things make sense, right? Things make sense as to like why they do certain things. Everybody's begrudgingly doing shit.
it, it's and it makes sense. Like, it feels like these are actual people on screen going through the shit.
Word.
Going through the ass end of everything and dealing with this extremely hostile creature on the plane.
Word. And like Sigourney Weaver, like in the first movie, she's just like, "Yo, guys, why are you not following the fucking rules?" It's like, I'm sorry,
Case,
I can't. They're like, "Oh yeah, this guy, he's like bitten
there's
by
something on his
something,
face.
something on his face, dude." And she's like, "Oh well, we can't let him in. Like what? Like you guys have to be quarantined. Just let us in." No,
What do you?
like
Oh,
the rules are you have to be quarantined. They're like, but just let us. I'm the commanding officer. I'm like, well, the second you stepped off of this goddamn ship, I became the commanding officer. All right, and I'm not gonna risk everybody else's lives because of your bullshit order.
it,
And then he's just like, motherfucker. And then like the guy inside was just like, well, override, fuck you. And I was just like, yo, why? Why? Why are you doing this? Just listen to her. She's right. She's right. Like you can't be mad. Like
she's dumb.
the guy outside, the commanding officer, like I would have been like, you know what? I'm tight, but she's right. I'm
Fuck.
tight, but like I'm in the wrong. But
Uh,
no, they fucking let him in.
this is, and then
Stupid.
that's how shit starts. And that's how shit
Yeah,
starts. And
literally, we would have been fine if we just listened to Sigourney Weaver. I mean, that's this true story of the Alien franchise. If you just listen to Sigourney Weaver, things wouldn't happen.
I mean, it kind of is the whole moral of the story. Because with the exception of four, which we'll get to, every movie is like, hey, we should do this. I hear you, but I feel like we should do this. No, I'm telling you, let's do this. I feel you on that, but this though, it's like
Stupid. And then they die because of it. They die for their stupid choices.
yeah. And I want to point out that in the first movie, if everyone remembers, the only survivors of the first movie, there are technically two. Technically two. There's Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley, Lieutenant Ellen Ripley, can't forget her rank.
Was she a lieutenant at that point?
I think she was. Oh
I
no, she
thought
got
she.
promoted later. No, she got promoted later. You're right, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
She
She
was.
got the in the second movie. She got the rank, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're right. So yeah, so just Ellen Ripley and her cat.
Yep.
Her cat made it.
I hate that cat. Fuck that cat.
Why you hate the cat?
Because the cat got people killed. But like it was like one of the first dudes, and the dude's like, "Here, kitty, kitty, here, kitty," and like he thought like what he was following was the cat, but he was following the alien, and the alien just bodied him, and I was just like, "It's fucking
but
cat's fault.
but
It's the
it
cat's fault."
also or- but it also warned her of the alien once it was on her escape pod. Like it hissed as she was petting it, and she's like, and she looked over. It's like, oh shit, it's here, sleeping, but here.
I mean, a life for a life. Is that how we're working? Is that how we're doing this? Cats are assholes, dude. All right, cats are assholes, and you can't tell me that
I'm
cat's
not
not an
saying they're
asshole.
not. I'm not saying
Fuck that
cats are not
cat.
assholes. It definitely is. It definitely. I'm just saying that cat. Its hiss was. All right, let's be real. The hiss was not meant to warn Ripley. The hiss was that, oh shit, what the fuck is that? And it was angry at the thing, and Ripley just happened to see what the cat was hissing at. That's it.
Fair.
That's all it was. But it's because of that cat that she survived, literally survived the very end. Because I guarantee you, at some point, if that cat hadn't done nothing, that thing would have killed her. End of
Sure.
movie.
Sure.
So we got a cat and a human.
Yep.
Cool.
The only survivors.
The only survivors. Then we come to Aliens, the second one, which to me is the best out of all of them. The highlight. Like at this point, there's no more horror. There's no
Yeah, this
horror.
is not a horror movie.
The whole fear aspect is just the sheer amount of xenomorphs there are in the
Sure.
movie.
And when they say aliens, they're the plural is well justified. It's not just two. It's like hundreds.
It's why they infected an entire uh
Colony.
uh an entire colony on a planet that was being terraformed. Which
Wasn't it an asteroid?
was it? I thought it was a planet. Well, who cares? The place was being terraformed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
it it really doesn't matter. And there's a lot of there's a number of iconic lines in this movie. Like I know our buddy Kevin immediately like smiled when the guy's like, "It's game over, man! Game over!"
That was an iconic line.
I
like it
don't
played, I was just like, oh, it's this movie.
You're like, "Oh, so this is where it's from."
That was pretty funny.
Like I guarantee you, there are a number of people who have said that line and do not know what movie it's from.
Shoot, I was one of them.
And then in this film, we lose the cat. Ellen becomes a lieutenant,
Good.
but we replace the cat with a more enjoyable character named Newt. And no, it's not a lizard.
Child.
It's a child named Newt.
Her real name is Rebecca.
Yes, she actually has a name, but she herself says, only my brother calls me that. Everyone else calls me Newt. Why they call her Newt, we don't know. And it doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Because at the end of the day, she's the MVP of this goddamn movie.
Honestly. I don't remember like how much people disagreed with Ripley in this movie. Because I don't think it was a lot.
Since frame one.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Before they got to the planet, right?
Right.
So they disagreed with her like wholeheartedly. They were like, "Oh, you're crazy, this and that. You need we're just letting
high.
you off the hook. You're ridiculous. You probably murdered your crew, but we're letting you off the hook, right?"
Yep.
But here's the thing. once like they lost contact with the colony, they were like, hmm, huh, uh, Ripley, what?
Now here's the thing. Hear me out. There is some ground that I understood why they didn't believe her, and that is
It makes
because
sense. There's no physical proof.
there was no physical proof, and the spot that she said that they found the ship on, there had been a colony there for 20 years and had never once come into contact with anything. So on that grounds, you know what? I understand doubting her, 100%.
Here's the thing, right?
But the second that they're like, colony, colony, hello, not even seen messages, just like,
Word.
you know,
Here's the thing, right? I understand that there's been a colony there for 20 years, but like this is a planet slash asteroid. I don't know how like it's big, right?
yeah, yeah.
Tell me, Herbert, on the planet that we live on right now, have we explored all of it?
Hell the fuck no.
And
Especially
we've been here.
I want to say that's not even counting beneath the ocean surface. I'm not even counting that.
We're not even talking about the ocean. We're just talking about land. Okay, we have not explored all of Earth. Like we haven't. And we've had thousands of years, thousands, and marvels of technology that allow us to go farther and like search like further. So yes, they have like spaceships and shit, but like it's only been like 20 years. You can't expect a colony who's busy concentrating on terraforming to explore every nook and cranny of this huge place. So like, hey, you didn't find anything. I'm like, all right, you just got lucky. That's it. You got lucky.
Yeah, that's just it.
I'm just saying,
It's
like they don't have while she has no proof, right? They
yeah.
also don't have proof. Like the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence, you know?
No, 100%. Um, by the way, so I decided to look up what the location was, right? And it turns out it's an exomoon. An exomoon, for those who don't know, is a natural satellite that orbits an exoplanet or other non-stellar extrasolar body. So,
So it's a moon.
and what is an exoplanet? It's a planet outside the solar system. There you go.
It's a
So,
moon.
yeah. So basically, it's just the moon of some planet.
Yeah.
There you go. So this it's large. It's large. Like it's a decent size. So they convince Ellen. Jesus, I'm just gonna call her Ripley. It's so
Triply.
much easier. I'm just gonna call her
I
Ripley.
don't. I was like, why are you calling her Ellen? Nobody
It's
calls
just
her Ellen.
it's just Ripley. Her name's Ripley. Especially because everyone in the movie calls her Ripley. No one calls her by her first name in the movie.
You
Um,
didn't know what her first name was until like the second movie.
it's like Ellen Ripley, and it's just like, wait, her last name's Ripley? What? Thought that was
Yeah.
anyway. So Ripley, they convinced her to go back there, and and I remember this conversation that we had with the group as we're watching this. So they're going back, and they're like, she's going with a whole unit of colonial marines, and they're stacked. Don't get me wrong; these marines they got stacked. They got weapons. They're stacked,
They're fit. They're
and
fit
then
too. They're ready.
they're ready. And then, bro, their CO went into hyperspace, into hypersleep with a cigar. So the second he woke up, he's just like, and I'm gonna start smoking this shit. I'm like, yeah, mess. That stogie was probably on ice for so long. It has like remnants of like watery flavor in it. Oh man. So at one point when they said like, oh, how are we supposed to? What do you recommend since we can't, need to do this or whatever? It's like immediately. This is before they even get to the planet. When they're asking what Ripley recommends, it's like she's like, "Yo, nuke it," and I'm like, "Yes, glass the planet."
Blast that planet.
Glass the fucking
we're,
planet. Glass
we're
the moon.
just like, all right, what do you think we should do? We should nuke the planet. They're like, we're not gonna nuke. Come on.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, all right. They convince her to go as an advisor, and then the moment like they get down there, this so they had two COs. They had like the sergeant, and then they had like a lieutenant.
And the lieutenant was
Garbage.
yeah. The
He was
sergeant was
trash.
the lieutenant was basically new to the unit, whereas the sergeant had always been with this unit. So like
Right.
everyone took the sergeant 100% seriously. Because you when you've been on the battlefield with someone, I can only assume I'm not a soldier, but I can only assume that when you've been on the battlefield with someone a number of times, you develop a bond that is unshakable at that point.
Word. It's like this guy tells me what to do. Like even if I disagree to a certain to a certain degree, I'm gonna do it because like he or she has proven their like loyalty, trust, like all of it. Like I can
I'm
trust
still
this person.
alive by following his orders.
Word.
So
But yeah, so the lieutenant, he's garbage, and he makes bad calls, doesn't listen to Ripley, and all this stuff. And then the aliens appear, and there's a lot of them. And then immediately, like after like the first encounter, they're like, "Yo, what should we do?" Ripley's like, "We should leave, and we should nuke the fucking planet."
because there's the main ship has nukes on it. That's how stacked they went into this shit.
They
They
were
had
ready.
nukes on the ship, but they're like, we're not gonna use this. It's just a precaution. It's just this is just so that Ripley's calmed down, so she can agree to go. We're not gonna use them. And then at the end, they're like, you know what? Maybe we should use them.
Just get rid of all of them.
I
Fuck
will
this.
say the Marines are the main. While they were there to quote unquote deal with the situation, they also made it the entire situation worse because they're looking for any survivors, whatever. They don't find nobody except for Newt. They happen to find Newt, and then she basically tells them, no, I think she does help them, like as to where the aliens might be, because they asked her basically like where she doesn't go, kind of thing, to survive. And then they find the hive, and when they're down there, the Ripley's like, "Hey," to the lieutenant who's on comms, "Hey, by the way, you should tell them to not shoot anything down there." Why? It's like, well, they're in a reactor, and they're using like armor-piercing rounds, right? That are like semi-explosive. So imagine what's going to happen to the shielding on that reactor if they fire, and then imagine what's going to happen to that reactor with its shielding damaged.
Bro, it's the fact that she had to walk him through it, right? So she's like she's like, "Hey, tell them not to fire." He's like, "Why?" Because they're like in a reactor, and 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 bullets and
And
and bullets go through there's its armor. It'll go through the metal, and
and
it'll set off the reactor. And
oh, no, he said, "Oh, there." He
oh,
said,
oh
"Oh, there."
yeah.
When as soon as he
Sorry.
mentioned like it'll go off, he's just like, "Oh."
Oh, like
You know,
you were real dumb, aren't you?
you're a special kind of stupid. And then, so then, because they're like, all right, flamethrowers only at that point, right? And they're like, let's collect our ammunition. Two of the assholes were like, yeah, I'm gonna hand over my ammunition, but they kept like one clip for themselves and clipped it in their gun. And I'm not handing over all my ammo. The fuck you mean?
It kind of makes sense. I think it was a bad idea to be like the lieutenant was like, collect everybody's ammo. I'm like,
So that was a bad idea. That was a bad
that's
idea.
not a good idea. What
I
do you
think
mean
that they
collect
should have.
everybody's ammo?
I honestly think they shouldn't have collected everyone's ammo, but he definitely should have checked to make sure that no one had a clip in the gun. That's it. Like let them keep their ammo because collecting the ammo at the end of the day is what screwed them over even more. So sure,
Because guess
obviously
what? Because guess what? The guy
they get
carrying all the ammo, he
fir-
dies. He's the first
first one,
one. He's the
first one
first
to
one that
die.
dies. I was like, oh
Oh,
great, you have no ammo.
and if I remember correctly, that satchel of ammo got set on fire, which caused it to explode, which then damaged the reactor shielding, which then caused the reactor to start a meltdown, which means the whole thing was gonna go off and nuke the planet anyway.
Good job.
Oh man, it was just uh, it was a lot. It was a lot, but it also climaxed with, "Hey, how do you beat a giant alien queen with a giant robot?"
That's true.
I would
It
say
was it was a giant robot. Well, not a giant robot fight, just a
it was a robot. It was a robot,
robot,
but not like
big
a.
robot.
Now, in the first movie, we're introduced that there are humanoid robots called synthoids. They look human and they act human, but they're synthetic, hence the name. They're robots. Um, so that's not what we're talking about here. It's literally a robot that a person would climb into to move cargo. So it's an exoskeleton essentially.
Yeah,
And
or a
I'll
nightmare frame.
yes. So when I watched that as a kid and I saw like this Ripley get into essentially a robot, I was so hyped.
This guy
I
loves
was,
his robots.
I was like, yo, let's get it. Beat this alien's ass. Let's do it.
Robots are always the giant robots are always the solution.
Bro, like, when aren't they? Don't answer that. Anyway. So
Two is a good movie.
two is by
Two is a
far
good
the
movie.
best. It's the best one out of the series. You can end there, literally just stop right there and call it a day. Oh, before I forget, there is a decent amount of there's a decent time jump between the movies.
Huge time jump. Oh my god. Every single well, between two and three, it wasn't that much time, was it?
Let me see. Between that's what I'm looking for. I know between 1 and 2, it was 57 years.
Between three and four, it was like 200.
Yeah, it was wild. All right. So, Alien 1 takes place in the year of 2122.
Okay.
Okay? Aliens is 2179, 57 years later. Oh, Alien 3 is actually the same year as Aliens. It's within the same year, so it's shortly
That's what
after.
I figured. I was just like, it doesn't feel like much time had passed.
But from Alien 3 to Alien Resurrection is 200 years.
Wild.
So, moving forward, Alien 3. This movie has so many plot holes. So many plot holes.
I don't even remember the plot holes just because, like,
So
I mean,
the main one.
I was just so uninterested most of the time.
So the main one, right? The main plot hole that everyone back then called attention to, especially fans of the series, which is still to this day among the fans of the series, a highly debated topic.
Is it the cow versus dog?
Yes, we still don't know.
We stopped in the middle of the movie because I was just like, hang on now.
And we're like, wait, is that what was the host for an alien? And we're like, oh, it was the cow. They had like a cow that that we saw that died, and then we saw the xenomorph hop out of there. So clearly, it was the cow. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
no, no, it was the dog. It was the dog because late in a later scene, we see one of the prisoners because this whole movie takes place on a maximum security prison planet. Yes, the whole planet itself is a maximum security prison. Good luck trying to escape that. um, so there apparently was a prison dog. And one of the prisoners think he's looking at the dog, but really it's the xenomorph that he's looking at, and that ends up getting him killed. So like, oh wait, so was it the dog? And it turns out that depending on which version of the movie you see, one of them has a scene where, one of them has a scene where we see the dog earlier in the movie. We
Uh-huh.
see the dog. We know it exists.
Okay.
However, in both movies, we still see the xenomorph come out of the cow.
Yeah. I feel like there is no argument, zero argument for the dog being where the xenomorph came from because you see it come from the cow, right? You literally there's a whole scene where it busts out of the cow's torso. And
However,
but here's the thing: the scene where the guy was looking for the dog, it was dark. He was looking down a hole, and all he saw was like kind of movement. you
Hmm.
know, and just like mass moving in like the shadows. Yeah,
Fair.
I don't think that's strong enough to be like, oh yeah, it obviously came from the dog.
The reason that people think that it was from the dog before the cow, like instead of the cow, is just the appearance and size of of the xenomorph in the beginning. Versus because the by the end every xenomorph gets like decently big, like they're like 8 feet tall. It's stupid.
Yeah,
But because of how it looks in the beginning, you usually get an idea of like you can get an idea of what it came from. Usually, so because of that, they think it looks closer to a dog than a cow,
I
and they
mean,
think
it
and they
looked
think
like a xenomorph.
exactly. I
Like
understand what you're
I
saying,
don't know, I
but
don't know what they're talking about. Like, oh, they're like, oh, it was on all fours. Cows walk on all fours. Like I don't. It's not like what. Where's your argument here? Oh, it was walking like a dog. You mean it was walking like a cow? Like, what do you? What's the argument here? You can't tell me. Like whoever sides on dogs, you're wrong. 100%. You're wrong. You're just wrong. You're just mad that you're wrong and you won't accept the truth. It's your fault. You're wrong.
there's a number of plot holes other than that as well, obviously, but there's it's enough to the point where they even released a book that apparently like is supposed to explain it, and it still leaves more questions to be answered. So either way, it was definitely the three is the worst. The alien, the xenomorph itself, most of the time, if you remember, most of the time it's in CGI, and CGI for this movie looks very out of place, at least to me specifically, because this is a movie that got famous due to its practical effects. You
Yeah.
know, so to then try to like, oh, CGI is the new thing, let's do that. It's like, uh, I don't know. It didn't look great. There were don't get me wrong, the xenomorph is not CGI the whole time. There whenever it's not running around trying to like super murder everybody at high speed, it's practical effects. It's someone in a costume. But when it's like chasing people and all that stuff, it just becomes full on CGI and it doesn't look that great. And I'm not judging it by today's standards. I'm judging it from back then when I saw it the first time and I was just like, the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
So eh. Oh, and Ripley dies at the end of the movie. So I feel like I must be imagining this, or maybe it's from an edited scene from the movie because there is like we didn't see the extended or special version of 3. We saw the regular version.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason I have a memory of a scene, and it's the scene where like Ripley is falling into like the vat to kill herself, and then
Uh-huh.
I just had this memory of like the chest burster come as she's falling, coming out of her chest, and her like grabbing it to hold on to it so it doesn't like try to jump out and save itself.
While I didn't see that, that's kind of badass.
Yeah, and I think like it's a badass scene that just further solidifies why Ripley is one of the is a super badass. Like
That's
she's
a
great.
badass.
Um, so,
Even in death. Even like while she knows she's about to die, she's just like, "Oh no 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 no, you're coming with me."
yep, yep. And I want to point out, most people when the chest burster first pops out, they pretty much die right then and there. Most people,
Most
not
people.
not Ripley.
Or the guy in the fourth movie.
Yes,
He
yes.
he took it like a champ. I mean, he died. Don't get me wrong. He's
Yeah.
dead.
So now we come to Resurrection. Now some of you may be wondering who don't remember or just haven't ever seen it. Why do they call it Resurrection? Well, it's simple, really, because a new company, not Wutani, because at this point Wutani has this like it doesn't exist anymore. um, so a new company comes along, and actually this company is the military, the government military, has successfully cloned Ripley since her death 200 years ago.
Yep.
Now, now I know what you're thinking. How is that possible after 200 years? Oh, it's simple, really. Wutani, because Ripley killed herself, Wutani was able to find like blood stains, some of her blood or whatever, across the site. Now she left it everywhere. So, um,
Oh, yeah,
and so
they
they just
cloned me.
so they cloned her. Except now, I don't know how this works. Cloning her was also able to clone the xenomorph queen that was inside of her.
Ridiculous.
I don't. I don't.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I remember like the beginning of the movie, they were just like, I was like, oh, okay, cool, they're cloning Ripley, and then they're like, oh, perfect, this one's like amazing, and then they cut her open, and then like it was just like, don't fucking tell me that that's a fucking xen, and then they pull out the xenomorph. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. No, because honestly, you're gonna tell me it's kind of like the same idea of like, okay, let's say I die with a cheeseburger in my stomach, and you take my DNA and you clone me. Are you gonna clone me with the cheeseburger in my stomach, ready to go, piping hot? It's inside me.
You ask for a cheeseburger, I give you a picture of a cheeseburger.
You ask for a cheeseburger, I give you a clone. It's fucking stupid.
It's just Q theory.
It's Q theory. God damn it.
Oh man! One of these days, I feel like we should talk to the audience and our fans about. For those who don't know what Q theory is, because it is
It's a
equal
lot.
parts. It's equal parts entertaining and infuriating at the same time.
It's a lot. It's so much, man.
That's a 2 hour episode right there.
I need to be drunk for that.
Yeah, we got access to that. Anyway, so they clone her, and then the company manages to successfully extract the xenomorph queen from her, and then they also seal her back up, and now they have a clone of Ripley who is she doesn't have her memories. It's like she remembers some things, but more of like the emotions attached to those memories, not really the memories themselves.
Yeah.
Like when they show her a picture of like a little girl, just a random little girl, you could see that she starts getting upset because inherently she just remembers Newt, who died, uh, who drowned in cryosleep. So great. Um. So yeah. So let's see what else. They
Let's see. Oh, she's enhanced.
She is enhanced. Apparently, being able to survive if you can get a xenomorph inside of you and have someone successfully surgically extract it and sew you back up, will give you access to some of the xenomorph abilities because this Ripley is stronger than a normal human and her blood is like acid.
Yeah. It's not as acidic as the xenomorph
Actual
blood,
xenomorph, yeah.
but it's acidic enough.
It gets the job done.
Gets the job done, yeah.
So I'm like, listen, if that's the case, yo, sign me up right now, bro. Sign me up right now.
No, no, thank you. No, absolutely not. Because there's no guarantee that they can successfully extract that xenomorph.
That's fine. If it ain't a xenomorph, it's gonna be COVID. One of the two. I'll take the chance of superpowers.
Oh, ridiculous.
So
Yeah, they extract the xenomorph and then like they grow the xenomorph queen and then she starts laying eggs and then they get bodies to like make more xenomorphs. And I'm here sitting and I'm like, this is just the worst idea. Like what makes you think that you have any control over this situation right now?
well, Liz, human race has had years, hundreds of years of history of us, you know, being able to tame wild animals of all shapes and sizes. So clearly, we could just do this with a xenomorph.
Ha. Ha. Okay.
I will say there is one scene that I really love about Resurrection, that truly exemplifies how intelligent xenomorphs are. So you see one of them in like its pod cell or whatever, and then it tries to like attack a scientist through the glass. Now the glass is super reinforced, so it can't get through it. Like it does a little tongue bitey thing, and it doesn't work. So the scientist gets mad and hits a button, which shoots it with like ice jets, essentially, and then it stops. And then
Probably
when
like
the
liquid nitrogen.
liquid nitrogen, probably, yeah. And then the xenomorph goes to like approach, and then as he puts his hand, he goes to press the button again. The xenomorph stops and backs off. So it's like it shows that it learns. But then later you see three of them in a cell together, and they're clearly having a conversation. It screeches
Clearly.
and like roars, but like the three of them are facing each other and like, and then to because they know, oh, we can't get out. Bet. And two of the two out of the three go full on murder one of the third one by piercing it with their tongue things so that its guts are everywhere. And as we all know, the innards of a xenomorph are highly acidic, which then starts melting rapidly, super rapidly, melting the floor that the pod that they're in on the pod. And then as the dude goes to hit the
Melted
liquid
through what,
nitrogen,
5 floors?
it was absurd amount. It was ridiculous. And then and then as soon as the guy goes to hit the button, they're already gone. They already went through the hole.
Word. Also, the button was locked up. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know why. It was like under a lock and the key was somewhere and he like was fumbling. I was like,
the key was right
why?
next to it. The key
It
was
was
right
right
next to the
next to it.
button.
It was right next to the button. But why did you have it locked? Like, there are three xenomorphs in there. You might need that button.
Like
That's ridiculous.
it's absurd, but it really shows how intelligent xenomorphs are and highly
Right.
like they learn dumb fast. Um, hell, even in Alien 3, we saw them that they learned because they trapped it the first time, and then when they tried to do something similar in the second time around towards the end, it was to go into the hallway and it stopped and it's like nah, and it backed up.
I was like, nah, I've seen this movie before.
But yeah, like, and that's why xenomorphs are honestly they're terrifying. Like you you don't want to blow them up or like stab them because you're gonna kill yourself with their acid blood. And they're extremely fast, extremely durable. You go underwater, they'll swim after you at ridiculous speeds. I'm fairly certain that oh no, they can. Yeah, they can survive the vacuum of space. And yes, I said vacuum on purpose because it's a reference. I know it's vacuum. I know, but for those who don't maybe know the reference, but space is a vacuum. That
Vacuum.
so. So yeah, they can survive the vacuum of space, which we saw since the first movie. When Ripley shot it out of the escape pod and closed the door, you see it start to climb back in as if try like climb across around the pod because it's alive. It's not dying. It's just trying to get in, and it's just like so. These things are extremely hard to kill. They don't like fire
Beautiful.
though,
They
which is
don't.
interesting. But and this is what makes Alien Isolation, the video game, is so much more terrifying too. Because so I didn't know this until recently, but there's a DLC for the game where you just you live the first movie. Like all like the ship is changed to the Nostromo, and all the NPCs whatever are the crew members from the Nostromo,
That's cool.
And you play as Ripley. And I'm like, yo, and that game is intense. It's super intense because you can't defend yourself. You have a gun, yes, but it only works against a synthoid. That's it. That's all the gun works towards. You can get a flamethrower, but it's fuel for it is few and far between. So your honest to god best option when dealing with the xenomorph as it approaches is to hide. So
Yeah. Get the fuck out of there.
leave, hide, whatever, and half the time it'll still find you because it. And I found this out to um exemplify again that xenomorphs are intelligent. if you keep hiding in the same type of spot, it'll eventually learn and start looking in that type of spot that you usually hide for. So if you hide in lockers
Fucking-
too much, it'll
Oh my
open a
god,
locker. And
that's not cool, man. Not cool at all.
I'm just like, yo, this thing is what I could never play that game. I know myself. I could never play that game. I'm a bitch. So
Fear too real.
fear too real. Fear too real. So yeah, so that's all four movies. Lens. At the end of the day, as someone who's seen them for the first time, what'd you think of the Alien series?
It was a fun series. Like I don't regret it. I'm glad I watched it. Like I had fun with most of the movies. Three was kind of like I drifted off at times because I was just like, man. I think the only times I was interested was when Tywin Lannister was on screen. So that's it.
In three? Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's in three, you guys. By the way, if you've seen Game of Thrones, Tywin Lannister, that actor is in what do you call it? Is in Alien 3. Alien cubed.
Alien
Alien to
Cube.
the power of 3.
But yeah,
Whatever you want to call it. Going back through it myself, rewatching the whole series again, it just I loved it because I love the Alien like universe in terms of watching it. If you ask me, hey, name of a movie universe you'd want to live in, not that one. So, hundred
no,
percent.
I would not like it because it's just, everything seems shitty. Like even if you have a good life, things seem shitty.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like no thanks. But I love that universe. It's why I've. It's why I was willing to like. I've always been willing to see like a new Alien movie. I don't think I don't think I've missed any of like because then hand in hand, ironically, Predator gets involved with that, and I enjoyed them both. And then when they did a crossover, the first crossover, I got mad. I'm like, "Yo, Alien versus Predator, let's get it!" Especially the tagline of like, "Whoever wins, we lose," and I'm like, "Yo, facts though." Like,
Honestly,
but so I got hyped for that. I know I saw both of those.
that'll
I've
be
seen
the next ones I watch.
Yeah, and then oh man, bro, I part of me wishes you could come over and watch it, uh, Predator, because I have Predator. This is like to just watch it on like a big TV as a group. Oh my god, it'd be so great. Um,
Alas, 'tis impossible.
alas, tis impossible. But I think the only movie I haven't seen from this Alien slash Predator shared universe, is actually the last one, Covenant. Haven't seen that yet.
Okay,
So I still need to see that.
we're gonna make that
Um,
happen.
Yeah. So, but overall, I love the series. Three's the worst. Four is second worst, and then silver medal goes to for original, and then gold medal goes to Aliens. It's just super solid, super duper solid.
Yeah,
But yeah, so if you got time and you don't mind old visual effects, you know, you should definitely check out at least the
yeah.
first two.
If you can appreciate like just the old school aspects about it, then like I think you'll really like the movie. I
Yeah.
finally realize why it's a classic.
Yeah. Uh, I will say, I speaking of this movie, it reminds me that later today, I have I missed the live stream of this earlier, so I have to watch it. But I have to watch a movie watch along from one of the groups that I follow on YouTube, and they watched a super old school movie. I want to say it's horror. Okay, maybe it's meant to be horror. I don't know, but it's like one of those. How to put it? You know, do you remember from the Iron Giant when Hogarth was watching like that weird like black and white movie on his TV?
Yeah.
That type of movie, that type of old black and white, like, what is going on? This is
All those
hilarious
classic
to me.
films. What's it
Yeah,
called?
it's called The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
That Wouldn't Die.
Hmm.
That's a fucking old fucking movie, dude.
I know.
Jesus.
I know.
That's hilarious.
It, bro,
All right. Well then.
1962.
That's old as shit.
It's in black and white. So,
All
I
right. Well
they
then.
they
Enjoy
they did
that.
like, yeah, I know I gotta watch that. I would invite you, but I doubt you want to sit through that.
I mean, like, I like the super old school movies, like the black and white movies, but like only if it's like good.
This is. I feel like this is one of those movies that's meant to creep you out, but ends up just being really funny.
Fair.
So,
Fair enough.
yeah. But on that note, thanks guys for tuning in. You know, thanks for joining us for our Halloween themed episode
Special.
for the week. Yeah, our spooky stream. So if you guys want to check it out, the movies are actually on HBO Max. All four of them are on HBO Max, which is where we watched them, courtesy of Lens and his account. So we got that, and then we have what else we got going on? Don't oh we got our Friday stream. Be sure to check that. Check that out. Maybe we'll play a spooky game. Maybe I'm pretty sure I have some kind of spooky game around
Um,
somewhere that I could stream.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a spooky game. We'll see.
I mean, there's always Game Pass.
There's always Game Pass. They got
So,
Hellblade.
oh god, that I'm trying to think of a game that we could play. You know what? Well, worst case scenario, there's always the new Warzone Zombies for right now for Halloween.
Ugh.
Worst case scenario. So there, there you go. And on that note, don't forget to catch us on YouTube and Facebook, the Content Corner. You can also catch us on the Metropolis. You know, we got some stuff going on with them as well. Some collabs every once in a while. I know not too long ago I recorded a small session with one of their members about mobile gaming because everyone knows I'm not addicted and I don't have a problem. So
That's a fucking lie.
start
Don't let him lie to you. He
Key and
has a
Peel,
problem.
Key and Peel sweat, Key and
You would
Peel
be
sweat.
you'd be shocked at the amount of money that he's spent on mobile games.
Let's not
Absolutely
let's
shocked.
not go into that. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter for updates on when we go live when we're posting videos. The _content corner, all lowercase. And yeah, and then now we have 2 streams every week. Now besides our usual weekly on Friday, Tuesday nights we got me with Ghost of Tsushima Tuesdays. We'll be switching on and off between Legends and the actual story for you guys, the Kurosawa mode. And then on Wednesday, we now have Lens here streaming some anime game. I don't fucking know.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yeah,
If you never watched the series, or if you just want to rewatch the series, yeah, there you go.
some kind of sushi ramen whatever
Coming
konnichiwa.
from the guy playing Ghost of Tsushima. Are you kidding me? A game about literal fucking samurais. Playing in
I
Kurosawa mode, no less.
I have no honor, Lens.
Fucking ridiculous.
Man. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Deuces.